meeting is now recording, so I will begin by taking the sediment for the Cambuslang and Rutherglen Area Committee on Wednesday, 18th of March, 2026. We have apologies from Councillor Bradley. I cannot see Councillor Rogan is in the meeting. No, I cannot see Councillor Rogan. We have present Councillor Brown, and we have apologies from Councillor Kelkis. We have present Councillors Pawan, Kovi, and Councillor Fulton. I don't see Councillor Lemon. Cannot see Councillor Lemon. And we have present Councillors Loudon, Newton, Ray, and we have apologies from Councillor Walker. In addition to that, there are a number of officers participate in the meeting. With that, I would like to hand over for today's business. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay, so item 2 on the agenda is the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any questions or comments on the minutes? Okay, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'll just ask Katie if she's happy to move the minutes, please. Yep. Thank you. Could I have a seconder as well? Great, thanks, Norman. Okay, item 3 on the agenda is a report to advise on the outcome of the inspection of St Columbkille's Primary School and Nursery class. And we're joined by Laura Horn, Lead Officer, Education Resources, and the Head Teacher, Andy Smith. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, councillors. My name is Laura Horn and I'm the Quality Link Officer for St Columbkille's Primary School and Nursery. I am pleased to be here today with the very proud Head Teacher, Andy Gray, who has been Head Teacher now at St Columbkille's for 9 years. The purpose of this report is twofold: to advise the outcome of the inspection of St Columbkille's Primary Nursery class by inspectors from His Majesty's Inspectorate of Education in Scotland. In the week beginning the 6th of October last year, St Columbkille's Primary School was the focus of a short model inspection by His Majesty's Inspectors, and paragraph 4.1 of the committee report takes us through the areas of the school's work that were evaluated using Scottish Education's National Quality Framework for Goods in School 4th edition. Those areas were learning, teaching, assessment, raising attainment and achievement. At the same time, the nursery class was the focus of Education Scotland's pilot inspection phase using the sector-specific framework. Paragraph 4.1 of the committee report takes us through the areas of the nursery work that were observed using the new National Quality Improvement Framework for the early learning and childcare sectors, which was launched in 2025. Those areas are curriculum, learning, teaching, assessment, and wellbeing, inclusion and equality. St Columbkille's Primary School is a denominational primary school situated in the Rutherglen area of South Lancashire. The school roll is 315 children organised across 12 classes. There are 48 children enrolled in the nursery class. The head teacher has been in post for 9 years and is supported by 2 deputy head teachers and 1 active principal teacher. During their 3 days in the establishment, inspectors observed learning in the school and nursery, spoke with groups of children and staff, and met with parents and members of the local community. The inspection report for St Columbkille's Primary and Nursery were published on the 16th of December 2025. Paragraph 4.4 captures the inspection grades for the school. Inspectors evaluated the school's learning, teaching, assessment provision as very good. Their outcomes on raising attainment and achievement were also evaluated as very good. As the inspection of the nursery was part of the Education Scotland's inspection pilot phase using the Quality Improvement Framework for early learning and childcare sectors, these quality indicators were not graded. Paragraph 4.2 highlights the key strengths of the school as noted in the report. In summary, these are: children are happy, motivated and thrive in their school community. They show confidence, kindness and respect as they interact well with one another, with staff and the wider school community. The school is led very effectively by the head teacher and senior leaders. Staff work well and together to create a positive and nurturing environment for learning. They understand the needs of all children and families. As a result, children are motivated to learn and feel supported. This is helping them to engage well in school and nursery and make very good progress in their learning. Staff work very well together to provide high quality learning experiences for our children. And in the primary school, teachers use assessment information very effectively to monitor children's progress in learning. They identify well those who require additional support and challenge, and as a result, school staff are successfully raising attainment in literacy and numeracy. Paragraph 4.3 references areas for improvement which have been included in the school and nursery's improvement planning for this session. They are not anything new, but endorsement from inspectors to continue to support children in the nursery class to develop their curiosity and creativity through child-led play experiences, and to continue to help children in the primary classes to recognise the skills they are developing through their learning in school. As outlined in paragraph 6.1, inspectors are confident that St Columbkille's primary school and nursery have the capacity to continue to improve and will therefore make no return visits in connection with these points. Now I'm going to hand over to Andy, who will share a few highlights from the report.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm delighted to share the outcomes of our recent Education Scotland inspection at St Columbkille's primary school and nursery class. Throughout the inspection, the inspectors recognised something that means a great deal to us: the strong ethos of kindness, respect and inclusion that runs through our school. They particularly highlighted the love and care shown by staff in every interaction, and I have to say that particular point made me incredibly proud. It's not something that you can manufacture, it's who we are as a school and a nursery. For the inspectors to see it so clearly and to name it so explicitly meant a great deal to all of us. Our vision in the school and nursery is Together We Shine, with the shine standing for successful, healthy, inclusive, nurturing and excellent. This isn't just a statement on a wall, it's lived every day, and I'm pleased the inspection team understood that so deeply and could see and feel it during the time they were in the school. They also recognised the strong collaboration between our nursery and primary school. They are not separate. Shared approaches and joint planning between the school and nursery ensure that the children's experience continuity and progression, settling confidently into primary one and enjoying a seamless learning journey. In the primary school, we were awarded 2 very good evaluations for learning, teaching, assessment and for raising attainment and achievement. We were delighted to be awarded these grades. These reflect the consistent high quality learning and teaching that is happening across all stages. Inspectors praised the highly effective leadership at all levels and the positive, inclusive culture that allows our children to thrive. Staff work closely together to provide rich learning experiences, supported by a strong assessment framework that ensures progress is carefully tracked and next steps are well planned. As a result, attainment in literacy and numeracy is very good and consistently strong. Our children were also recognised as a real strength. They stated that they show confidence, kindness and respect in their interactions. They benefit from engaging lessons, a strong focus on skills for life, have achieved a goals reading award and have a progressive digital learning pathway that equips them for the future. Turning to the nursery, although no grades were awarded due to the new pilot framework, the report clearly reflects a very high quality of provision. Inspectors commended the warm, caring relationships between staff, children and families and the safe, secure environment where children feel happy and ready to learn. The curriculum is broad, balanced and enriched by daily outdoor learning and opportunities for inquiry and exploration. Strong partnerships with our parents and the wider community were highlighted as a key strength. Staff know each individual child well and plan learning that is relevant, engaging and inclusive. Children are developing confidence, independence and skills for life through high quality play experiences indoors and outdoors. Before the inspectors left, they said something to me that I'll never forget. They told me that St Columbkille's is a very special place, a school that they would have no hesitation in sending their own children to. They said that the children here get a really good deal. And for me, that was one of the most powerful informations of all. It showed that they truly understood our ethos, our values, and what we are striving to achieve every single day. Our children are our greatest strength. Everything we do is for them, and I couldn't be more proud of them, or the staff, families, and wider school community as they make St Columbkille's the place it is. The inspection confirmed what we already felt, that St Columbkille's is a school where children flourish, with 2 very good evaluations, strong partnerships, a nurturing ethos and deeply committed staff team. We are in a really good place to continue to provide an outstanding education in a caring and inclusive environment. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Andy. These are such positive inspection reports. We are all very pleased in the education community, and this includes our education director, who is absolutely delighted with the reports. Committee is therefore asked to approve the following recommendation to note the HMID reports in St Columbkille's primary and nursery class. Thank you, and we welcome any comments.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Andy. No, really great report. I know I shouldn't be biased in the slightest, but I did go to St Columbkille's School a very long time ago, so we're just going to open it up to questions, but we won't guess how long ago it was since I was at St Columbkille's before you were head master.
More than 9 years.
You're rightly proud of your report, and as you should be, and it's nice to know that the inspectors picked up on the kindness and the love and care, because that's really what it's all about. That's what you want, isn't it? So yeah, we'll open it up to questions. Andrea?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great report. Both my sons, who are in their 30s, went to St Columbkille's, so again, probably the balance. And that was before Carol was there. And actually, out of the whole thing, I'd actually just written down kindness, because when you said it, I thought that's lovely, and you've emphasised that as well. So yeah, well done. Congratulations.
Katie?
Yeah, thanks very much, and for presenting, and that's such a fantastic report, Andy. You must be rightly proud of that, and the hard work of yourself and all of your staff and the whole school team to bring that together. I was really struck at what you said about love and care, because it doesn't seem all that long ago. It was back when we were first talking about the promise for care experienced young people, and I remember the First Minister at the time, Nicola Sturgeon, talking about love very explicitly, and it was really the sort of first time that had been used in education. So to see it filtering down through, obviously it doesn't mean the work wasn't going on, but to have that recognised by inspectors is really quite a big change, and one which I think we should be rightly proud of as well. I just wonder, obviously you're doing a fantastic job with such an excellent report, but it's tough. It's a tough job you're doing, and I just wondered what you thought at the moment were still your biggest challenges on a day-to-day basis that the school's facing.
I think across all schools are feeling that additional support needs that are coming into schools that are presenting more of a challenge. Now, we have done a lot of work in terms of inclusion within the school, and the inspectors did say that they can see that we have a need also of just the whole package around about inclusion. But that is a challenge because every child is different. And you might have it right at one point, but things can change, and that's a continuum of wanting to make sure that staff have got enough training and expertise as well. So that's probably our biggest challenge, which is not just St Columbkille's, that's across the board as well. But I mean, I can see the changes within the 9 years I have been head teacher, the amount the difference of support that we now give to families, whereas even 9 years ago it was completely different, and you're tapping into lots of different resources with partnerships with social work and family support hubs, and you give it almost a real care package round about the child.
Very much. Yeah, we've got a report coming up later on youth, community and family work, which picks up in a lot of ways. So thank you.
Okay, great. If you could pass on a congratulations to the rest of the team, that would be great. Thank you. Committee happy to note the report? Okay, thank you. If you need to leave, please see very briefly. Thank you very much. It's just thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 4 on the agenda, please, and that's youth, family and community learning activity in the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. Claire McGuigan is joining us and she'll speak the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, councillors and colleagues. My name is Claire McGuigan, Locality Manager for Youth Family Community Learning in the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. I'm here to provide an update on delivery of the Youth Family Community Learning Service provision. The committee has asked to approve the following recommendations: that the scale and scope of services delivered be noted, and that the activities and impact of services delivered to meet the needs of targeted young people, adults and families be recognised. Background: the Youth Family and Community Learning Service delivers a range of community learning and development programmes, projects and activities across South Lanarkshire. CLD is an educational practice that supports individuals and groups in improving their skills and reaching their full potential. Community learning and development is rooted in a commitment to the principles of social justice, empowerment, inclusion and access to services and opportunities regardless of life circumstances. It's delivered within a framework of legislation and statutory guidance, particularly as defined in the requirements for Community Learning and Development Scotland Regulations 2013 and the CLD Strategic Guidance for Community Planning Partnerships, Community Learning and Development. Under the requirements of the Education Scotland Act 1980, local authorities are mandated to work with partners and communities to publish and deliver a plan of agreed CLD actions over a 3-year period and report on progress through the council structures. CLD has recently been subject to a national review, Learning for All for Life, a report on the Independent Review of Community Learning and Development, CLD 2024, and it's highlighted the impact of CLD, its value to learners, and that it works, and that CLD is delivering positive outcomes and improved life chances for marginalised and vulnerable learners. And that's for the World's TV and all national framework. YFCL uses a range of delivery methods, initiatives and interventions to deliver CLD outcomes. Youth work and family learning within communities and educational establishments, including universal connections buildings, early intervention work with children, young people and families, diversionary and transitional programmes, partnership working, community-based adult learning, including adult literacies and English for speakers of other languages, volunteer development, learning support and guidance in the community development, like capacity building for communities to meet their own needs, engaging with and influencing decision makers. This paper presents an overview of the range of engagement, impact and services delivered within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen communities. It also apprises members of development and service delivery during 2024 and 25. Centre-based youth work activity and outreach activity. Universal Connection Centres are deeply embedded within North South Lanarkshire communities and serve as a primary vehicle for much of YFCL's youth work, leveraging strong community local partnerships and relationships. YFCL adopts a needs-led approach, utilising local intelligence to tailor opportunities and experiences that are relevant, resonant and attractive to our young people. To extend the impact of youth work beyond the centres and enhance the support provided, an outreach offer of youth work is undertaken to develop and nurture relationships with young people who may not already use our services but would benefit from them. There are 2 Universal Connections establishments in our area, Cambuslang Universal Connections and Rutherglen Universal Connections. I'm sure that you will be aware of where they are based. So point 4.2 and 4.3 just gives a little bit more of an insight into where the centres are located. YFCL cater to a diverse range of groups, including but not limited to those with additional support needs, young carers, those requiring diversionary activities, health and wellbeing groups, creative learning groups. This can be music, drama, media, sports and issue-based groups when the needs arise. We also have adult learning, which is in point 5 of the report, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of the work that we have been doing. Our community-based adult learning is delivered with and for adults within the communities, not usually determined through a curriculum. Instead, the social practice model is widely used to respond to learners' goals and aspirations. This model acknowledges that adult learners bring skills, experiences and assets that can be valuable. Adult learning offered from YFCL can broadly be categorised into literacy, numeracy, English for speakers of other languages, parenting, personal development, creative learning and issue-based activities based on specific needs. In addition, YFCL provides a space for people to access social experiences free of charge, where they can build positive relationships and networks with peers. Activities designed across a range of settings, including universal connections. Non-stigmatised access to food for all service users is a feature of most YFCL programmes for all age groups. This is supported through access to local opportunities via supermarkets and businesses who provide end-of-day and other food donations. Point 6 is about adult literacy and numeracy provision. YFCL services adult literacy and numeracy team work within the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area to improve functional literacy skills. YFCL strong partnerships with locally based organisations helps us to raise awareness and attract new learners. In addition, strong relationships with social work and the Department of Work and Pensions ensure a steady flow of referrals. There are many ALN adult literacy numeracy groups across South Lanarkshire, and learners work on a range of literacy, numeracy and ICT skills. Individuals work toward their own goals within a group setting with the support of an ELA tutor and fully trained volunteers. Learning takes place in a variety of venues on different days and times to suit the learner's needs. Achievements are celebrated and adult learners are often featured in the YFCL Boost newsletter with their qualification certificates. Point 7 is regarding our provision for English for speakers for other languages, or ESOL. The YFCL service offers ESOL classes across all localities within South Lanarkshire, catering to different proficiency levels based on learner needs. These levels include literacies, beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate and intermediate. In South Lanarkshire, YFCL staff and the council's resettlement team work in close partnership to deliver ESOL in South Lanarkshire. Language classes are delivered to assist learners in everyday communication. In addition, the YFCL service provides Scottish SQA, Scottish Qualifications Authority core skills qualifications, communication and ICT level 2 to level 4, employability skills, ESOL family learning, ESOL drop-in cafe and chat, ESOL summer programmes, which are based around learner needs, ESOL learning trips and educational visits. YFCL programmes aim to create an accessible, inclusive and supportive learning environment. They help learners improve their English, enhance employability skills, boost mental health and well-being and build confidence for further education, employment and community integration, working closely with the resettlement team. Effective support to refugees to assist them to become members of the community. The YFCL ESOL team collaborates with various organisations and businesses and charities, including but not limited to the NHS, South Lanarkshire Leisure and Culture, Glasgow Science Centre, Scottish National Trust, Red Cross, and various other partners. I'm sure you'll be able to read that later. All ESOL learners have commented on how much the classes have helped improve their physical and mental well-being and decrease the risk of social isolation. Some quotes from learners are that classes are a lifeline for us and you help us not to feel alone in this country. YFCL work in schools. The Pathfinder programme is currently embedded within 6 schools in South Lanarkshire with 12 YFCL Pathfinder officer posts. The 6 schools are Stonewall High School, Lanark Grammar, Alderside Academy, Andrews and St Bride's High School and Carluke High School and Hamilton Grammar. This is currently funded through a blend of whole family wellbeing funding and pupil equity funding. Pathfinder support is bespoke and provided through individual and group support. Home visits and parental engagement are key elements of the role. Pathfinder staff are well connected to key partners in the wider community to ensure appropriate referrals into and out of provision. By August 2026, all South Lanarkshire mainstream secondary schools will have at least one Pathfinder. YFCL are intensively working on recruitment and to upscale the project. The parent of a young person has commented, Pathfinders have had an enormously positive impact on my daughter's life. To have someone who will always be there to support and reinforce that she has talents and has been very important to my daughter. To have someone who can provide opportunities which fit her needs, talents and interests has been life-affirming for her. Pathfinder has been pivotal in bringing my daughter back to a place of happiness after the struggles she's had, and my husband and I are eternally grateful. Care and the Inclusion Wellbeing Service. So Care's got a dedicated team of YFCL staff who work collaboratively with the school to deliver outcomes and experiences within the curriculum for excellence. The team are committed to engaging with pupils and their families to build positive relationships and to explore the development of learning opportunities. The extensive work that YFCL undertakes in the school and the community highlights the importance of community support and positively influencing the lives of young people and their families. YFCL staff deployed across the 4 Inclusion and Wellbeing Service SEBN primary schools. They offer a nurturing, preventative and empowering role, and the work helps strengthen essential skills, boost confidence and promotes wellbeing. This work complements teaching and supports staff by focusing on relationships, inclusion and wider life context rather than solely classroom attainment. YFCL provision for pupils during the school day. YFCL deliver a range of learning programmes in partnership with schools to support the curriculum in primary and secondary education establishments. The aim of the school learning provision is to support young people with their education and well-being using youth work as an approach, support young people to create and apply their learning and describe their learning and achievements, assist young people to set realistic and meaningful goals, provide relevant and up-to-date information regarding issues that affect young people, encourage young people to broaden their horizons and increase aspirations and ambitions, and increase attainment by supporting young people to achieve accredited awards. Provision includes targeted activity for young people at secondary school who may be at risk of disengaging. This varies across localities and is adapted based on identified need. Current examples of this activity are the platform programme and East Kilbride and the bespoke programmes provided in Cambuslang, such as the blueprint programme. The Cambuslang and Rutherglen area have a small-scale pilot where a primary school pathfinder is working in both Bankhead Primary and James Ayton Primary. Both schools who feed into Stonelaw High School, and both have catchments close to Rutherglen Universal Connections and Cambuslang Universal Connections, and are in areas of multiple deprivation where territorialism and gang afflictions can be a barrier. The pilots, although in early stages, have been reported on by those involved positively. The Pathfinder is working in each school 1.5 days per week with young people and their families. The aim is that the member of YFCL staff will work with both groups collectively in partnership with the Universal Connections facilities, ensuring that the young people are part of the summer transition and also link into parents' carers to family provision in both Universal Connections facilities. YFCL also have staff temporarily deployed to primary schools using pupil equity funds to support family learning to improve educational outcomes for children through parental engagement. The addition of YFCL staff provides a range of supports and programmes for learners and families delivered by CLT professionals in areas such as health and wellbeing, achievement, securing attendance, improving relationships and removing barriers to learning. And we have, in this area, we have someone in St Cadoc's Primary School. The Awards and Outdoor Learning team promote the use of awards to recognise achievement. Paragraph 9 is about our awards team. The Awards and Outdoor Learning team promote the use of awards to recognise achievement as well as attainment, and this is delivered across a range of educational establishments and community settings. The team also work with staff teams, community groups and volunteers to build the capacity to deliver awards and outdoor learning programmes integrated into other learning programmes. A wide range of awards are delivered through the awards team, both for young people and adults, including Duke of Edinburgh, from bronze through to gold, Youth Scotland, Award Scheme Development and Accreditation Network, which are called ASDAN Awards, National Navigation, Discovery and John Muir. Environmental awards such as John Muir and National Navigation Award Scheme help learners to connect better with the natural environment, bringing benefits to both physical and mental health and well-being. The team also delivers structured, non-accredited programmes of outdoor learning, which helps learners to develop teamworking, self-confidence and well-being. These are either as a dedicated programme, usually with partner schools, or to enhance personal development programmes run within YFCL. Activities include a range of bushcraft, outdoor cooking, shelter building, navigation and hill walking. YFCL manages Youth Scotland Delivery Hub for South Lanarkshire, which involves creating and implementing effective and efficient verification and standardisation systems, promoting the awards and finding ways to raise capacity for the service to increase delivery. As well as working on direct delivery, the awards team also oversees awards provision by supporting and offering guidance to staff to enhance the delivery processes across the service. This includes delivering training to staff, schools and partner organisations. Furthermore, the team aids the creation and implementation of effective delivery procedures and creates professional development opportunities across the service. Point 10 is participation and volunteering. Participation is an embedded process within the YFCL service that is taken seriously and delivered effectively. Learners can develop their engagement with democratic processes, build their confidence to explore and understand the issues affecting young people, adults and communities, and to take action to challenge and present ideas to improve ways of addressing issues. I'll let you read the rest of the point 10. So workforce development, staff within YFCL service are engaged in ongoing professional development to enhance service delivery, supported by a comprehensive learning and development plan aligned with the Community Learning and Development Standards Council strategy. YFCL staff are collaborating with national partners and organisations including Youth Scotland, Youth Scotland, DLD Manager Scotland, Education Scotland, SVQ and others to meet CPD requirements and advise on SQA qualifications. YFCL staff have worked at a national level with the CLD Standards Council regarding meeting staff CPD requirements across the country and advising on the delivery and assessment of SQA qualifications. Again, I'll let you read the staff. Each of the 4 localities produced locality reports, highlighting the impacts of the specific interventions in place, which have been designed and implemented according to locally identified needs. These reports are shared locally and are also available on request from our local teams. We try not to print unnecessarily, so if anybody would like a copy of our locality report, please do let me know and I'll be happy to share that, because it does have case studies and pictures and it's very nice. But as I say, we run small print runs because we're very aware of the environment, so it's on a kind of a need to have basis. So Rutherglen Universal Connections has been closed to the public since October 2025 due to building issues. But the staff team has continued to deliver an intensive targeted programme of support for young people at risk of antisocial behaviour, gang involvement or school disengagement. The current offer includes alternative school day provision, such as our rugby restorers, who are currently working at the moment with Pro 73 on a Rutherglen 900 project, where they are helping with their building and planting planters in local primary schools. Self-defence groups, sports leadership, outdoor learning and a range of diversionary and developmental activities delivered in partnership with Stonewall High and the Primary Pathfinder pilot. Our current evening provision at the moment includes our ASN groups, M Factor, junior and senior and our girls groups. These have been relocated to community venues, though numbers have been affected. Despite the challenges of our building closure, the team has sustained strong relationships with priority learners, maintained primary 7 transition support and continued to engage some of the area's most vulnerable young people through creative, relational and community-based interventions. I would also like to note here that we have been advised and actually workmen have been out yesterday to look at fixing our roof, and then we will be able to get the building back opened hopefully very soon. I'll move on to Cambuslang Universal Connections. So Cambuslang Universal Connections operates 5 days and evenings each week from its prominent Main Street location, offering high visibility and strong community access. The service delivers 28 weekly groups designed around early intervention, whole family support and diversionary pathways, with clear evidence of impact through transitions from family learning into youth work and parental engagement in adult programmes. The offer spans school-based work, including salary platforms, enhanced P6 to 7 transitions and targeted support via Pathfinders, as well as a broad community programme featuring girls and boys music groups, Friday night diversion activities, cycling initiatives, justice-focused support groups and local youth voice activity. This approach is embedding upstream support, strengthening family well-being and creating coherent pathways across childhood, adolescence and parenthood. The coordinator of Cambuslang Universal Connections also wanted me to mention that we have a group for 18 to 29-year-olds who are just about to be constituted. There's been a lot of work done in terms of capacity building. They are a group of neurodiverse young people and they've called our GAF group and they've named themselves. They have been working on refurbishing our chairs within the Universal Connections recently because they were getting a wee bit tatty. So we're looking at sustainability and they have been using materials and things like that that would have probably gone into waste. if they haven't been used, and they are now actually leading workshops with some of our adult learners, so they're passing on the skills that they've learned. And we also have the Cambuslang Youth Committee, who have been working on creating a comic book and characters, so that we can publish this comic book and graphic novel that will showcase a children's version of the Children's Services Plan for South Lanarkshire. So thank you so much for the opportunity to tell you a wee bit about our work today.
Great, thank you so much, Claire. A very comprehensive report. It's clear there's a lot of good work being undertaken. Okay, we'll open it up to questions. Yep, then Katie.
Thanks very much, Claire. Yeah, it was really comprehensive, and it's great to hear about the breadth of all the CLD work that's going on. I've got a particular interest in some of the work. I think it was on page 21. It's talking about targeted activity with young people who are at risk of disengaging. So know that EFSA, emotional based school avoidance, is a huge problem nationally just now, and it has been since the pandemic. It's something we need to get to grips with. I was talking to one of my Glasgow colleagues the other day about their work in this area. So I would welcome it, not necessarily just now if you don't have it, I said about printing and things, but I welcome some more information about that in particular, about what we're doing around EFSA. Particularly where that disengagement has already taken place. So like a young person's no longer attending school in any capacity at the moment, and then what we can do, because you're immediately facing a barrier then that already disengaged with services, what we're doing or what we can do or what would help to bring them back into the system in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be delighted to have that discussion and give you further information. Is in terms of our young people who are completely disengaged, our pathfinders and our care staff, KYSL staff are very good at working with those young people on a relational basis. The staff are relatable and they are persistent and consistent, and they are able to develop good relationships with both the young people and their families. And gain their trust. So yeah, I'd be happy to discuss that further.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, and thanks, Claire. I was going to ask you, although you went on to cover it, about the Universal Connections roof. I know that there's been an issue with that for a while. I was hoping that it was near to being sorted. And I'd be really interested in having the locality report me as well. Yeah, and well done for getting through all of that.
I'm so sorry.
Not at all.
No, no, absolutely. There's tons and tons of information, but yeah, it was a lot for you, so well
I
done.
know, it's really enlightening actually,
Yeah.
isn't it, the amount of work that has been
It
undertaken.
covers all
Yeah.
bases. It's really quite something.
Yeah,
As it went on, I did think to myself, I'm going to just try and give you the headlines because I was aware how long I was talking. So that's apologies. Then I've missed you doing that.
Along with you, so it was.
If there's any questions that anyone has, I'd be delighted to chat to you.
great, thank you. No, it was really worthwhile, so thank you very much for taking the time to come along and give us the update. Is committee happy? Sorry, Robert.
So I just wanted to ask about the ESOL work that you do, something about the ESOL. I wonder how far you penetrated, if you like, into the appropriate communities in that regard. If there are challenges in that way of getting people to come out and take part in groups and socialise and different things like that.
Yeah, so my colleague and we, to give you a bit of background, so we all have geographic areas in mind as Rutherglen and Cambuslang, but we also have some strategic projects that we lead on. My colleague, Joan McVicker, leads as the locality manager who leads on ESOL, and she'd probably give you a much more comprehensive answer than myself. As far as I'm aware, it's very successful. We work really closely with the resettlement team in South Lanarkshire. And if you'd like some further information on that, I can absolutely get Joe to provide that for you.
That's okay. I've have actually met with the team before, so I know a little bit about the information. But thank you for that. That's helpful.
Okay, no more questions? No. Okay, we're happy to note the report. Great, thank you very much. Thanks again, Claire. Okay, we'll move to Claire Lewis now, and she's going to take us through a PB update. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon, members. So the purpose of my report today is to update members on the projects that have been delivered through Housing Services State Improvement budget. So the budget totals £80,000 and it's split across the 4 housing localities. So each locality has £20,000 to spend. Although it's a limited budget, it enables us to carry out a number of small projects that have a meaningful impact on our communities. Usually these projects are highlighted through discussions with tenants and residents with their housing officers or through groups, and through engagement with the communities we identify the projects that we're able to take forward. So this year for 2025-26, a total of £22,931.15 has been spent in the Cambuslang and Rutherglen area. And I can take you through some of those projects that have been identified. Following feedback from tenants in Ryan Way about a blocked footpath, it was identified through a walkabout that the footpath was blocked, so therefore hedges and shrubbery were removed to improve access to that area. Second project at Newbury Way, tenants had reported to the housing officer that items were frequently being dumped in the access lane. So following discussion with the residents, new fencing was installed to prevent further dumping taking place there. Within Green Hill 4, the already limited parking there was kind of being impacted further by overhanging shrubbery and bushes in the area. And that was kind of highlighted to us by residents complaining. So it was agreed that shrubs and bushes would be removed from this area to make sure that we're making progress with the car parking area. At Brownsdale Road, it was identified through our engagement with residents that there wasn't an adequate space for wheelie bins to be stored. So a new base was installed there, which is encouraging tenants to return their bins and store them in a tidy condition, which is an improvement to that area. At Rutherglen Road, tenants had identified that overgrown weeds were making it difficult for the Care of Garden scheme to carry out works to get access there. So that lane has been cleared to allow proper access for the Care of Garden scheme. At Lansmer Drive, information from residents and police came to us as the youths were congregating in an unused bin store and causing some antisocial behaviour. So this was ripped up and rough casted over to prevent access there. So that's made an improvement to that area as well. At Hill House Avenue, tenants and residents had highlighted the Brownsdale Road. There was problems with the communal bin store there, so a new base was installed to help tidy that area up. At Landimer Drive, and Hill House Avenue, the communal bin store provision, and there's a new hard standing area created to move them away from the car parking area. And the final project there was local residents at Barnplant Street had highlighted about bins being permanently left out in the street. So to prevent that from happening, 2 new hard standing bin store areas have been created, and the bins are being replaced with new communal bins for the area. So that did take us over the £20,000. However, the extra £2,931.15 spend from 2025-26 will be covered from the estate improvement budget for 26-27, which has an increased budget for next year. So if there's any projects that are identified through your interactions with tenants and residents, then we would welcome any suggestions for next year. We will continue to take forward opportunities within the area to ensure that our tenants and other customers can be involved in the decisions that are made, and that the projects that are taken forward are taking the views of our tenants and residents into consideration. I'm happy to take any comments or questions.
Okay, thanks very much, Claire. Okay, Robert?
Yeah, maybe that's I take your questions of reserve on this. We seem to be allocated for next year.
Yeah, we're currently looking at ideas for next year. It's always quite a popular budget, and with a limited amount of money to spend, there's only so much you can do. However, yeah, housing officers have got their ideas kind of in mind for the new year.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Norman?
Who would sit the best contact for ideas?
Well, if it's residents can speak with the housing officers, or if it comes through your constituents yourselves, you can contact either myself or Tracy O'Donnell. I'm covering for Tracy just now, who's off sick, so when myself or when Tracy's back in post. Tracy.
Can I just say, I know these are all very small projects, but these are the type of things that make a huge difference to people's environment.
Yeah,
And I'm really pleased to see that this is ongoing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Great, thank you very much. Are we happy to note the report? Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Claire. Okay, we'll move to item 6 on the agenda, and that's an update on Harriet Gardens, supported accommodation and home and friends in South Lanarkshire. Kathy Berry will take us through the report.
We should put it on the-
Thanks very much for having us along. I've got a short presentation, giving an overview of the development of Harriet Gardens and the focused accommodation project. The key steps for us before we go live, and I've also just sort of briefly covered the wider homelessness context for South Lanarkshire and the locality. If I can move on, if that's okay. Won't belabor the points in this next slide. If members are well aware of the context and the pressures around homelessness. This included that slide covering the key drivers behind the project in terms of the demand within homelessness, changes in national policy, and in particular removal of local connection, which has really impacted the level of demand and kind of demand coming from out with into South Lanarkshire. And just to give you assurance, the committee, the ongoing strategic aims and commitment to homeless prevention as far as possible, speedy resolution and improved pathways remains our focus. Move on to the first slide. Just a bit of a kind of summary of the journey that we've gone on, and members will probably recall that we made strong progress kind of the early years of our rapid rehousing transition plan, and we went from a position with a long standing homeless backlog of about 1,000 households homeless at any time. We got down at our best to within the kind of low 700s and felt like we're on our way with rapid rehousing, sunshine and things are good. But a combination of we lost Lindsay House earlier than we expected because of property issues, and not long after that, COVID, cost of living crisis coming out of COVID, and just kind of key things really changed demand. And we had 3 years of sustained sort of upward drive in terms of homeless presentations, sharp increases in real pressure for temporary accommodation. We do have a temporary accommodation strategy. We review that annually and we look at supply against the latest demand trends, including what kind of temporary accommodation people need. And despite that sharp increase in presentations, the profile hasn't really changed in terms of the vast majority of homeless people just need secure, affordable, good quality housing. Around about kind of 25 to 30% of folk that present as homeless have support needs. And within that, it's around about 5% that present with multiple, more complex support needs. And our temporary accommodation stock, I would say, meets that really well, and that the vast majority of our temporary accommodation stock is furnished properties across our communities, ordinary homes. That's what people need. and that's what we have, and it's supplemented by a relatively small supply of first thought, rapid access accommodation within each of the 4 main localities, and then a very small supply of supported accommodation for the minority of folk that would benefit from that intensive support for a period of time before moving on to their own home. So our new project that Harriet Gavin's is part of a kind of broader response that's been our profile. The next slide, slide 4, just covers some of the kind of high level statistics just for your information. And it shows over the last year that we're seeing a reduction in homeless presentations, which is really positive coming off of the 3 years that we had before. Thing is, it's a slighter reduction than the kind of dive up that we had, but it's moving in the right direction. So the caseload that I mentioned at its peak, we were sitting over 1,600 homeless households waiting in housing. So we've reduced a bit, we're into the 1,500s, and you know, it's not huge progress, but it's finally moving in the right direction after a few years we're only watching it going up. There's obviously a lasting impact to that increased pressure. If you're homeless, you're not going to be far off a year. I mean, there's variances, but on average, it's taken us near enough a year to resolve homelessness. And that's despite both the council and their RSL partners letting the majority of properties that are available to homeless households. The council are sitting just above 60% and our RSL partners are just above 50% of all properties on the homeless list. But the positive is the band is slightly easing. You know, operational performance is positive, but it's a fragile position, particularly I've mentioned again around out of area presentations. So far this year, up to the end of February, we had 303 out of area homeless presentations, and about 70, just over 75% received a positive homeless decision. So that's quite difficult demand to plan for. Over the last 3 years, that's increased each year. The next slide 5 is just a snapshot of some local information, which really just shows that the profile for Rutherglen Cambuslang matches the overall South Lanarkshire. High levels of demand, performance is strong, decision timescales, allocations to homeless households is high, relet times remain positive, so strong performance in there, but high demand, and that is our key challenge. Slide 6 really again is just a summary of trends and pressures in terms of where our presentations are coming from. Again, the profile hasn't really changed over the years. The largest group is young people that have been asked to leave their parental home. That's about 18% of our homeless presentations, followed quite closely by folk experiencing a relationship breakdown at 17%, and then just under 17% of presentations are following release from prison. And prison discharge presentations that have more than doubled over the last 3 years, and we'll get early release programmes and stuff, so we can only really see that going one way. The loss of the private sector is another kind of key area. There is 229 homeless presentations in the last year, and that's about 11% of where homeless presentations are coming from the private rented sector. Alongside at the minute it being really quite difficult to access the private rented sector because there's landlords leaving the market, a lot of competition for what is out there, and finding something affordable is quite difficult. But you know, again, I want to reassure you, we're trying all of the options because you do have good outcomes, so you need to kind of try every route. An increasing demand from our humanitarian programmes has been another factor over recent years as well. So I think the data just shows the kind of complex nature of homelessness and the reality that we need a multi-agency comprehensive response, and our strategic homelessness action plan sets that out. We've got really good partnerships in the area. You know, there are sort of pressures and demands are reflected in Health and Social Care Strategic Commissioning Plan, and a real will for us to work together.
Slide 7 then comes on to looking at the timeline and our partnership in the project coming about at Harriet Gardens. So we had identified the need for additional supported accommodations, and we were in the process of looking at our options, looking at sites, and then the opportunity to partner with Social Bite arose. So we started those discussions, and it seems like a long time ago now, but back in 2020, started looking at this, thinking about how we could work together, what the offer would be. Social Bite have brought significant investment to this project. They're fully funding the modular homes on the site and have contributed significant funding. Also, there's kind of ongoing benefits, I think, of our partnership with Social Bite. For example, they have committed to giving every tenant a laptop, and they've said that they'll continue that as we have turnover. They'll continue that investment. They're also looking at sort of education and employment opportunities they can work with the zone, and just the kind of clout they bring and stuff, I think will bring benefits to our tenants. And then the Salvation Army are now our partner that have been commissioned to manage the site and deliver the support service, and got a lot of experience working with Salvation Army. So the next slide is looking at the model. Sorry, there's a bit of a tiny picture of the site. It will deliver 15 really high quality modular homes, self-contained properties with a central community hub, and we'll have a whole range of health, wellbeing, social support activities going on in the hub. We feel like this is the kind of best of both worlds, this model. Supported accommodation quite often doesn't meet temporary accommodation standards, but it gets an exemption because of the recognised benefits of supported accommodation. So the downside is it's maybe a small room you've got for the period of time that you're there, and maybe not the best quality building, but the support is a real bonus. Whereas we feel like we're getting the best of both worlds, really quality accommodation, a realistic space to do that tenancy preparation work. You'll have your own house, manage your own door, pay your own bills, but you've also got that 24-hour support service on site. So we feel like this is a transformative approach for us. And the Salvation Army will be there offering wraparound support, and it's a pilot for us. We want to really try and help folk move on to their settled accommodation from this supported rather than any other form of temp. We feel that we'll get really good outcomes from this project. The next slide is just sort of touching on the fact that community engagement's been an important part of this project. We had a few kind of open events. There was a bit of negativity early on around, is it the right area for this, and concerns from people in the local area, which was understandable. I feel like we made every effort to try and listen to those concerns and work with people. We set up quite early on a community connections group, which has been great. There's councillors Cowan and Kirry have been involved in that group from the start, and we've got a rep from Community Council, a local resident, Bankhead Tenants Association. So it's quite a small but really useful group. We are anticipating handover of the site on the 2nd of April, and we're starting to prepare, identifying who our first tenants will be, and some launch events. The week after we take handover, probably the 7th and 8th of April, so I'll be in touch around that. And then my last line is really, I've probably covered the points in this. That we expect the project to deliver really strong outcomes and lead on to stable homes, improve wellbeing and better engagement with services. We're also really happy that this project has brought a vacant site back into use, and I know that there was concerns, but if anyone's been by it, it looks fantastic. And we'll put a lot of effort into keeping it, the whole landscaping part of this project's been an important part of it that we'll continue to focus on. So we're in the kind of final stages of landscaping, getting utilities hooked up, and the kind of final readiness checks. occupancy will be exclusively via the council referring over to Salvation Army, and we'll closely monitor performance as we move forward, and we'll continue our community group. And that's me. Thanks very much for the time. Happy to take any questions.
An exciting time then, isn't it? Getting to that point. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll open up to questions.
I would just say to Jackie that you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I was at those first open meetings and by goodness, it was scary stuff. And so you've have worked well. You've just kept, you've just kept your eye on the target, just kept going. And you've done a great job. I'm a huge fan of the development. I always was. I thought it was a great idea for the old, and I'm really looking forward to opening and hopefully proving that it has been a good idea and we're not all wrong, and it's a disaster. But no, I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. But you've done a great job. Well, thanks for that.
Margaret?
It's the same as Andrea. Phenomenal job. Even I was at community council last week, and even the change in their attitude. They all went and see round about and that at the beginning they were
Yes, as for Bankhead residents,
Yeah.
well, I'm not saying every one of them, but the general feeling in
Yeah.
the room when I was first talking to them about it was basically not on our doorstep. Oh, it's a great idea, but not here. And now they're reasonably enthusiastic as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's
same with Rutherglen community council. I was quite surprised.
Yep.
But they were asking when it's opening, can they go in and see it? They think it looks great. So yeah, all credit to the work that's been put in.
I don't know if you've thought about inviting the community groups, but that would probably be a good idea. That would be, I think that would be great.
There seems more curiosity around it now, like the comments I've seen on social media and things,
Yeah.
people are asking, it's like, it seems to be removed from, as you say, the very beginning, when there was concerns and things. So
I haven't seen, even when I post about it, I said this to you, I haven't had a negative comment
No.
in months and months, whereas every time I posted before, it was all the usual, the usual suspects and the usual sort of comments. But, it's fine now, it just, I think people are accepting it, which is great.
Yeah.
Robert?
A couple of points, if I mean, first of all, on the actual management arrangements, I hadn't actually realised, I probably should have done, Salvation Army involvement in that. Is that separate from any management, like a sort of factor, sort of person or whatever? Or are they the only presence on site as it were?
We'll closely monitor, and it'll be exclusive referral by us for occupancy, but they'll be the management agent and the support coordinator.
Yeah. The other thing was that you mentioned in the introductory bit about the number of outer area people coming on from the system. And I suspect some of them are not really genuine outer area in the sense of the people with a connection rather than coming back. But do you have a flavour of any of that?
Well, we don't count, if you have a connection, we don't count. So we only count that if you have no connection to South Lanarkshire, so it's 300 will have no connection.
Yeah. So what's the flavour of that? I mean, is it because of the fact there's just a general problem and they're just trying over the place, or is there a particular reason for them?
Yeah, I think there's a few things going on. I think our proximity to Glasgow's part of it, and we're kind of real homeless pressures as well. There's the difference between Scottish and English legislation. So post-asylum decision, the fact that there's no priority need down south, and we have priority needs. So there's a kind of pattern. Glasgow get much more of this than us, but there's a lot of presentations from out west Scotland, as much as across Scotland, and that's something I know the Scottish Government are committed to looking at. So, but that's the position just now. It's part of it. It's, but I think there's various bits and pieces going on that are contributing to it as well.
Thank you.
Andrea?
So, sorry again. Can I just say we talked about this before about how I felt it was important that the first residents were, I'm going to say handpicked, so to speak, so that they can ease into the community. And I wondered how that was going. If you've got, I'm not asking you for any detail, obviously, but I just wondered if you've got those residents lined up and if they've been through
Yeah,
some sort of vetting, for want of a better word.
yeah, we pretty much do, and we are being very careful. We're careful with supported anyway, because the one person can unsettle a whole kind of project, and we'll never again have 15 people moving in around about the same time. So it's kind of,
So you
having
can
to watch
manage it.
around that as well. So we are being, really careful in the first round.
I think it's important that it is very
Yeah.
tightly managed
Yeah.
initially, so until it becomes part of just the everyday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Margaret?
Just like Andrea, I actually had a couple of young men approach me, asking me how they get their name down. They struggle to sustain a tenancy, and they thought this was brilliant. I just naturally referred them to, speak to the housing officer. But it just shows you when people are asking and they're recognising that this might be a wee forward for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really good.
Thank you. Any further questions? No? Okay. Great, thanks very much. Good luck with the launch. Okay. Sure, no problem. So committee's happy to note the report. Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 7 on the agenda, and that's the fall programme for future meetings. So this is the regular items. There any questions or comments?
Aye.
Okay, everybody happy to note the report then? Okay, thank you. And we'll move to the community grant applications. So we have 5 community grants for consideration, and we're also being asked for authority to approve any further grants to the end of March that may come in. Committee will recall as previous meetings that we have decided, the committee made the decision to grant the full amount in line with the eligibility criteria. Are we happy to do that again this time? Is everyone minded to do so?
Yep.
Yes, okay. So I'll move the report then, if I could have a seconder, please. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. So we have no items of urgent business, so thanks for your attendance today, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.